In this video, I'm going to talk about some things to know for people who are new to buying case knives. If they're going to go buy a knife on the internet, these are some things that you may ought to take into consideration and some things you ought to know. This is the first case knife I bought from the internet. It was, I believe, the first case knife that I ever actually bought at all. But most of my knives I get from pawn shops or places like that, because I prefer to buy used ones. But nevertheless, this one come from Amazon. And I'm going to go over a few things in this video to watch for. A lot of times, if you're looking somewhere on the internet, I'm not talking like Shepherd Hill or Smoky Mountain Knife Works or some big case dealer. But if you're looking like on Amazon, you've got to be careful who the seller might be. Walmart, Amazon, any of these different places will sell case knives. But sometimes you're not really getting what you're looking for. Every now and then you'll find a knife that's got a real good buy on it, and you'll look at that and you'll go, wow, and that's got $20 off. And what you don't understand is you're buying a knife that has some major problems with it, and that's why they're selling it for so cheap. This was the first one I bought, and this is what I ran into with this particular knife. But first, before I open it up and show the knife to you, I want to say that I want to go over the few things that you need to keep in mind. First thing you got to remember is look at the box itself. What kind of condition is the box in? See all this grease? That's not normal. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen from the case factory, but I'm saying it's not normal. I've got probably 40 case boxes, and I've never seen grease like that on them. That's not normal. But that should have been the first sign to me that the knife had been messed with a little bit. But that's one thing to watch for. Look for stains on the boxes. Case usually does not have stains on the boxes. The next thing you need to watch for is extra stickers. A case will always have this sticker right here. It'll have its birth date, this one 0503 of 21. And it will come up the back and lay over the flap just like that. Here's another example of one like that. But if there are any extra stickers, you have to be careful. Like this sticker right there. Sometimes that's not a big deal, and it doesn't really affect much. Other times, it can matter. Now, there are different retailers that will put different stickers on their knives to help them keep track of them and stuff along those lines. Sometimes at Shepherd Hill will put a different sticker on one of their knives. But like this, for instance, is a case from Shepherd Hill. And generally, there won't be any other sticker except for this sticker here on the back. This is for a sky blue sodbuster. Occasionally, there'll be a sticker that will say Shepherd's Hill exclusive, or you might have a little sticker like this one that has an item number on it. But always be very cautious of that. If it's got a large sticker on it with a lot of other numbers and stuff like that, you ought to be aware of it. That might mean that the knife has been messed with. It may not. The knife might be fine, but it may not be. Something to keep in mind. Another thing that we should keep in mind is if when you receive your knife, sometimes there'll be a crease that goes all the way down the box. You can see a little bit of a crease right there. See how when I pinch the box, it pinches up right there. Mine has that crease because I've had this knife for a few years. I've opened and closed the box a few times. So it's no problem. But if you get a brand new one and it's got a crease all the way down the front of the box, somebody has had that knife out and has been prying that box open to stuff everything back in there. So that is a sign that the knife may not have been, but it may have been messed with. And just because the knife's been messed with doesn't mean that it's bad or that there's anything wrong with it. It might be perfectly fine, perfectly good shape and condition. But then again, it may not be. These are just things to say, hey, watch out for it. This is a sign that something may not be right. Case has a really good warranty. And they've never let me down even once. So they'll take care of things, but nevertheless, it's something to watch for. Sometimes it's easier if you get a knife from a bad seller, just to send it back to the seller rather than going through all the ordeal of packaging it and sending it off and waiting for it to get repaired. The other thing you need to watch for is tape. Tape. There should not be Scotch tape on the box. If there is Scotch tape holding the box closed, that shows the knife's been messed with. Now, that doesn't mean that the knife's messed up, but it does show that it has been messed with. And so these are just some things to watch for. Creases on the box where the box has been opened, tape holding the box shut, extra stickers on here that are kind of random, and any kind of dirt or smudge like this grease here. And you can see it's got grease. Camera's not picking it up. You can also see grease here on this sticker. Those are some things to watch for. Now, when you open up the package, Case has a very particular way that they wrap their knives up. I don't have a new one here to unwrap to show you, but if you look at a video of someone unboxing a new knife, they wrap it up really tight around it, and then it's twisted at the end, almost like a Tootsie Roll. And this one, as you can see, as I pull this out of the box, again, I've used this knife, but I just put it back in the box to illustrate a point. If your knife comes kind of loosely wrapped like this, it's a good sign that it's been out of the box and has been messed with. See, this one doesn't have the twist on it. Another sign that something isn't right is you'll notice what my paper looks like here. When I unwrap this knife, look at this paper. This paper's destroyed. It's torn all to pieces. And that shows that the knife has been out of the package and it has been messed with. Your paper will be... I've never had a bad torn up paper like that from Case. It may have a hole in it, but it's not shredded like that. That's a sign that it's been in and out of the box. Well, in my particular case, this is the knife I got. I really like the Bermuda green. And isn't it a beautiful knife? See, the bolsters look good. It's a pocket worn. Everything's completely smooth. See, the back springs there look great. Back of the bone, it's great. Again, I've carried this knife. It's not in new condition, but I've kept it in good shape. You can see it looks good. The spade blade, 6207, stainless steel, good snap. And then you got your primary clip blade there. Again, half stops, good snap. It's a beautiful looking knife, great looking blade. And so the question is then, what's wrong with this knife? Well, the simple answer is there's nothing wrong with it now. But that wasn't the case when I got it. This was my first one, and I really didn't know much about them. Nowadays, I would have sent it back, but I didn't know back then. When I got it, this blade, the main blade, was so loose, you could basically wiggle the knife and hear the blade click around inside of it. That's not good. It was so loose. If there's a little bit of wiggle, that's normal. As you use the knife, it'll probably wear in and break in. And I've had it happen multiple times where the blades just firm on up. As a matter of fact, it happens more often than it don't. But if it's enough that when you wiggle it, you can hear it clicking back and forth, it's a problem. Now, like I said, this knife now, as you can see, is completely tight. You can't wiggle it at all. And so it's one of those things that's pretty interesting. But this particular one here, I have fixed it. I took, and on this knife, I learned on this knife how I put it in a vise with some good rubber padding and very lightly pinched the bolsters till I got the blade tight. And then, you peen the pin with a little ball peen hammer, and then you sand it till it's nice and flush, and then you buff it. And you can see nobody would ever know that I modified this one. But nevertheless, I got it cleaned up. And this is a beautiful knife. It's one of my favorites. That was all that was wrong with it. It's a great knife. But that's one thing to watch for. This time, I did good on the deal because I got so much money off of it. It was a learning curve. I learned a lot about fixing it. And now the knife is perfect. Works great. But nevertheless, those are some things to watch for with your knife. If your knife has any of those red flags, it don't mean the knife's bad. But it does send up a take a little caution flag. Take a little mention there that this thing may not be right. This may have been messed with. So those are a few things to keep in mind. Again, if there's a crease in the box, if there's Scotch tape on the box, if there's random extra stickers, or if the box is dirty, and if the paper in the box is all shredded up. Y'all have a good day and keep your knives sharp.